Hi everybody, this is Harmony from Harmony Stitches and welcome back. It's been 2 weeks since my last update since I went on summer hours, and I'm so excited to be back with you and show you what I've got done in the last 2 weeks. It's probably not going to be as much as what you're expecting, but that's okay. We'll talk about it anyhow. I hope you've been well. I hope that you enjoyed the bonus cut number 2 video that I put up a couple weeks ago showing all of my finishes through the end of June. So if you haven't seen that video, go back and look at it because it might remind you of some of the things I worked on. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get started. This is a channel that I talk about my crafting adventures, usually in the realm of cross stitch and knitting, sometimes crochet, which I've said before, which is super weird because crochet was always my go-to craft, but somehow I've kind of evolved into cross stitch and knitting. So that's what I have to show you today. No crochet. So I do have a finish. I did start another pair of my first socks by Marley Bird using the Chic sheet by Marley Bird yarn from Red Heart. And I told you I was going to start another pair, but I was going to use green. Come to find out, I only have one ball of each of the green colors, so I didn't start that. While I was knitting this pair, I did contemplate what I was going to do about those green balls because I do want to use them all up. And I figured I'll do this because one ball of this yarn is slightly less than what I need to make myself a pair of socks. And my family members don't want any, which is fine. I decided I have some of the Regal, which is the purple left over, and I think that would be so pretty to put in for heels, toes, and cuffs, or just heels, or just toes, or whatever. So I'm going to use that as accent color. So in the meantime, I chose Sunset. The colors may not represent well today because I did have to turn on my overhead light, but this is Sunset. It's kind of an orangey coral. And I do have both of them finished. I finished a whole pair. So this is the 5th pair of socks that I finished for Summer Sock Camp hosted by the Crazy Sock Lady YouTube channel. If you're interested in any of that, I will go ahead and post it below. We still have until August 31st to finish any socks, or they have to be started and finished during the Summer Sock Camp period which is June 1st to August 31st. So I've got 5 pairs done. I anticipate that I can get some more. I was working on the Tantamount by Hunter Hammerson with the green yarn called Happiness. I think I have decided to put a hold on those for now, to take it apart, because the cabling, I'm not happy with the cabling that's happening in it. I like the look of it. I'm not happy with my execution. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do that pattern using the Chic sheep wool on one of these, so that way I can see it, get used to it, maybe get some muscle memory for those stitches, and then move on. I can't promise that's what I'm going to do, but I have that idea floating around in my head, so we will see. So I don't have any other finishes this week, but I did work on my cross stitch. Alice in Wonderland is up first. This is Alice in Wonderland Sal Stitch Along, Mystery Stitch Along by Owl Force Embroidery. Last Friday, let's see, what part are we on? 2, 3, 4, 5, part 6 came out. I'm not done. Of course I'm not done, but this is what I have so far. Okay, so I almost finished, of course, you know, I have to stand up and show you this so we can get it close. I almost finished part 5. All I have left to do is to finish this glove and put in another. I was avoiding it because it's using white and my white stitches are not looking very hot. So I did do some of this, and then I stitched it, and I'm like, oh, I'll just do a thread and go back and do it, and then put in more threads. But I was undisciplined. But this border is almost finished. I have a little bit left. I did stitch all of this yesterday. It took me forever. What felt like forever. I was watching, I was catching up on a TV show while my daughter and husband went somewhere, and it was like an episode and a half, and that's all I got done. And I'm just thinking to myself, this is crazy. I could be working on something else and feel like I'm making more progress. And I think it's because I'm not feeling it. I really enjoy the look of the piece. I want it finished. I want to get it framed. I want to get it put up. I don't know what's going on, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it aside for now. I'm going to put it on my whip wheel and I'm going to put it aside. And when it comes up on the wheel, then I will work on whatever parts were released and do what I can in that time frame. But for now, I think I'm going to set it aside. I'm sure I'll get more progress on it when I don't feel like I have to work on this. And I think that might be what it is. I'm feeling an immense pressure of having to work on it in the time frame and stay caught up, and I can't even stay caught up. So the next thing I worked on was a new start. I think I spun this the last time we visited with each other. No, I didn't spin it. I said I was going to go backward because I had spun it previously but didn't have any threads to work on it. This is Bittersweet Trio by Waxing Moon Designs. So I did get started on this. It took me a while to decide which one I wanted to start, but I started with the fox. Besides a little bit of back stitching on the legs, the fox is complete, and the little pumpkin is complete except for the stem. The border here on this side is almost all the way to the top, so that will be the height, like right here. And I did work on this border here, but as you can see, I didn't finish the frame. But that fox, I mean, you wouldn't think it, but that fox took a lot of work. And this is my piece of fabric, so it'll fit nicely, especially since I might be, I think did I tell you this before, that I'm going to stitch them all as one piece, but I'm not going to put all of the borders in between. So I will be able to save some space as well by getting rid of the triangle borders and just have one straight border in between each of them. So that'll save a couple of spots, a couple of columns. So I did make pretty good progress on this. I told myself I at least wanted to get the fox done, and I did that and got in a pumpkin. So the next pumpkin, there's another pumpkin and it's quite large and it's ecru. So that's going to be exciting. Okay, and then the last cross stitch that I worked on in this 2-week period is Pandemic. If you remember from my last video, I was quite far behind on the goal that I set for myself of 8 strands per day. And I said I wasn't going to worry about it. I wasn't going to pull any more strands until I got those done. I had 31 strands done by Wednesday when I went to bed. And that's almost just 1 strand short of 4 days worth. And it was 4 days. So I felt good about that. So I got all caught up. Those were all the strands that I had pulled out and waiting to go from previous days. And then I still was able to get 8 strands a day after that. And then it was 4th of July weekend. I had an extra long weekend from work. On Saturday the 3rd, the 4th, and then the 5th. So it was Saturday, Sunday, Monday. I had a goal of getting 12 strands in each day. And I did it. I was so proud of myself, but I was here all day. I had no obligations. The chores were done. You know, everything was taken care of. I didn't do them all in one sitting. I don't think that I would have been able to handle that, but I did some in the morning when I got up, and then we did some things, and then I came back and did some more, and then did some things, and then did some before when we were watching TV in the evening. So I broke it up a little bit all 3 of those days, but I was able to get 12 strands in. That's 36 strands in 3 days instead of 24. So that kind of caught me up about a day and a half of what I probably was behind from earlier on at the tail end of June, beginning of July. So I will show you what I've got. I did move my frame. I was going to use the Q-snap, but it was not working for me, so I just made my frame that my husband made me smaller. I have 17-inch pieces and 12-inch pieces. So the last time I was on this side, of course, let's stand up so I can hold this thing. I had, see this frame that goes up and down here? I had all of that done, and I had started working on these bands over on this side. I don't think I had any here. I had this done, I think. So then I worked on all of this and all of this diamond and the inside, and then all of this. The deer here on this side I think was already done, but I did these bands of design and a little bird. So that's a lot. This page here is complete, and actually it's a little bit extra because I think the top of the bird's head is actually the top of the page. So if you follow along, I actually did do a little bit extra. And the reason is because I'm going with my thread, and I won't cut my thread. I'll just find the next page where it lines up, and that's where I will stitch to continue my thread. And then when my thread's over or all complete, then I will get a new one and I will start down below again and work toward the top of the page. And I'll just keep doing that. So if I get a little bit up on the next page or over on the page over there, then that's okay with me because it's just going to help when I get over there. So as you can see, most of the white space that was there is filled up. Of course, this corner here is really hard for me because I still have to stretch my arm. So I may not get this done before I move the frame back into the right side. When I moved my frame and I started working on this section, I just was flying through, it felt like it anyways, flying through those strands and really motivated and working on it and didn't want to put it down. And I think I was just struggling with the other section I was working on before my last video. I was struggling, and I don't know if it was just because it seemed like it was stitching the same thing over and over and over and I was getting sick of it or what. I don't really know. But I feel like I'm in a good spot now, and even when I move the frame back to the other spot, I think I'm going to do really well. I still am on track to finish this by the end of October, maybe even at the beginning of October. I did some rough calculations today, this morning before the video, and I have about 30,000, between 30,000 and 31,000 stitches left. And if I can stay on track and do my 8 strands a day, I can do about 10,800 a month. So since we have, a half of this month left, I'm thinking maybe beginning of October. I'm still on track, and I'm really excited about that. My husband said, "Are you half done yet?" Yes, I'm half done. I'm thinking I'm about 60% done. With that page complete, those 2 pages, when I get them complete, that'll put me at least 10. I just lost track on the other side. So when I move the frame, I'm going to count the pages that I have done and see about all the partial pages that I have done, so that way I can get a more accurate count. But I'll move it before the end of the week, so I will definitely take a picture when I move it, so that way you can see where I ended up on that section since I'm moving to the other section. So because I'm putting a couple of things, I'm putting Alice in Wonderland on the whip wheel, so she's gonna go away for a while. And then I got a new phone the other day, and my new start wheel disappeared. My whip wheel it said I hadn't used it in 188 days. Well, I know that I had used it within 188 days, and I'm like, what's the deal? It didn't save anything, so my stuff didn't import properly, which is fine. So before I came up here to film, I quickly went through all of my whips and added everything except for Alice. I didn't add her yet. I made sure that it was all updated, took off the things I finished, put on the things I started since, and I spun it. Spun the whip wheel, and it came up with Pumpkin Carriage. I will put in a picture so you can see what it looks like. This was my progress from the couple of days that I put on it from the new start wheel. So I'm hoping to be able to get some good progress on this, since I am down to, I'll have 2 cross stitch projects then. I'll have Pandemic and this one. And before, when I had 2 projects a week, I was actually getting really good progress. So we'll see what happens. I'll probably take this to work with me to work on my lunch. This is the color palette, just 4 DMC colors. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. And I'm going to start another pair of socks. Like I said, I don't know if I'm going to do the tantamount pattern on the wool socks, the worsted weight socks, or if I will just do another plain pair. It would be kind of fun to have them patterned. I only really wear them at home or in my winter boots when we go out walking. So nobody will see them, but I will see them. I'll know it's there. So we'll see. Okay, I bought some finishing supplies. And we'll see what we can do with these. Don't be afraid to shop at the dollar store. I know that these things are cheap, but you can always take your pieces off if something were to happen to them, and then you can just change your finish. So I got these at the Dollar General for $1 a piece, a pink one and a yellow one. And I don't know what I'm going to put on here yet. This yellow one, probably something for the kitchen with a bee on it. That's what I'm thinking. So what you can do is you just make it the size of the piece and just cover up all the flowers if you want to. Or if I found a bee that would fit in here, I would just finish it in the middle of the circle and cover up the words and then use the flowers as part of the decoration. So there's that. These were only $1 a piece at the Dollar General. So, I mean, and they're good thickness. They're a good thickness. And then it came with these little hangers. They're stapled on. If you don't want them on and you want to set it up in some other kind of fashion, then just take the staples. You carefully, because it is thin wood, but then you just change. Okay, these next 3 pieces I got for a really good deal. They were on clearance, and then there was an incident, but I got them for a really good deal. I figured that my husband actually saw this one a couple weeks ago, and he pointed it out. He's like, can't you do that, use that for something? So it's kind of rusty red, kind of almost brown stripes in the back. So I can definitely use this for something. And then he pointed this one out and said, can't you put something on there? And I said, definitely I can put something on there. And it's already all done. All you have to do is finish your cross stitch piece. This one will obviously be a little bit trickier because I would want to put it in the circle. There's a little lip, so I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little lip, so you can definitely get it down in there. But of course, circles are a little tricky. I know there are a few tutorials out there on YouTube, so I can go ahead and check those out. I might get lucky and have a bowl that or something that's exactly that same circle size, and I'll be able to make it work. Okay, that's all I have to share for you, but let's recap. I'm putting Alice in Wonderland on the whip wheel, and I'm setting her aside for now. I'm setting aside the tantamount socks and starting a new pair on the worsted weight wool. And I will be working on Pandemic and Pumpkin Carriage this week. I hope that you all are working on your crafts too. I know that we've had some warm days here in Michigan, but still working on socks in the car while you're driving. Well, you're not driving, but if you're a passenger, that's a good way to continue to work on your crafts, or even cross-stitching in the car if you don't get motion sickness, to work on your crafts even when it's hot outside. It's a good spot for the air conditioning. So let me know what you're working on. I hope that you saw something that you liked today or had some ideas for finishing. If you have any ideas for these finishing pieces, let me know, because that might help me move along and dig some things out of my bin. I don't have a lot of patriotic stitched yet, so I'm hoping that I will have some inspiration and find some that will work with those pieces. So until next time, I will see you on the 28th of July. No, that's too far. What's 2 weeks from today? Whatever 2 weeks from July 14th or July 11th is, that's when I'll see you next. So have a good 2 weeks, and I'll see you later. Bye.